Quiz for the board. When was, and you can't answer tonight, because if you answer tonight, then I know you're Googling and not paying attention to the agenda. When was the Pledge of Allegiance adopted? You can tell me next time. What year was the Pledge of Allegiance adopted?
I don't Google. I'll just text it.
Just the original version. When was it adopted? Okay. Now we have to approve the agenda, but we have added an executive session for consultation with the board's attorney, so we need to amend the agenda to include this. So I need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay, 7-0. And we are now going to adjourn to executive session, but we need a motion to adjourn to executive session plus all the words.
Madam President, I move that the board go into executive session for the purpose of consultation with an attorney for the body or agency which would be deemed privileged in attorney-client relationship, and that Dr. Stroh be invited also, and that the board return to open meeting at 7:20?
Yes, it might.
Seven.
Well, maybe so. Well, we need about 20 minutes.
Okay.
7:30.
No, we'll make it 7:20. We can go back. In this room, the executive session is required to protect attorney-client privilege in the public interest.
Second.
Oh, did you invite Mike on that?
And I assumed that was included. He's the only attorney in the room, I assume.
Okay.
And the best.
And a second?
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. 7-0. We will return in 20 minutes.
We're not sitting down, by the way. We're not sitting down.
No, we're not sitting.
I know it's a
I would
it's a
entertain a
nightmare.
motion to go back. Do I have a second?
Second.
The second. All in favor of going back into open session, raise your right hand. 7-0. Do I hear a motion to go back into executive session?
Madam President, I move that the board go into executive session for the purpose of consultation with an attorney for the body or agency which would be deemed privileged, and that the board return to open meeting at 7:45 in this room. Executive session is required to protect attorney-client privilege and the public interest, and that Dr. Stroh and Attorney Mike Norris be invited to the session.
Second.
Okay, move in second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed,
I'm
okay.
a seconder.
Madam President, I move we return to open session.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay, we can continue. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
I have a question. I'm
Yes,
going to
sir.
ask procedurally. I have a question on the Wilson. Do we need to bring that out of,
We can
So-
bring something out of consent agenda, can't we?
or can I just ask a general question? I don't know.
Sure,
how-
sure.
You may
I
ask
don't
a
know how
general
the
question.
procedure is.
Yeah, you can ask
You can.
any question.
The contract, did we get multiple, we sent out RFP, I assume, did we get multiple responses back?
For this work, DLR sends out the bids.
Okay. And did we get multiple,
I don't know if they did. They take care of, that's part of our contract with them, to take care of this. And so then, when we get this contract, then it's up to you for your
so
approval.
this is really falling under DLR
Yes,
more than anything else?
yes.
Okay,
Does that
Thank
answer
you.
your question? Are you happy?
yep.
Okay.
He seems happy.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve consent
Yes.
agenda?
Yes.
And then we have the second game, okay. All right. Or is there any more discussion or questions? If not, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Okay. I have no one that has chosen to speak to us tonight. So, let's go to, the good one. The elementary report.
This is fun. So we have some of our elementary school committee members here. Linda was on the team. Lori Skeet was on the team. Shannon Fanning was on the team. And Dan Ray was on the team. And Ryan Cobbs was also on the team. So we met 3 times, and we spent one of those times visiting 4 elementary schools in the Kansas City area. And I asked them to consider 3 things. The first was the site. And so they reviewed information that I also sent you, preliminary site report with regards to the board office site, which was right behind this office, which is about 6.5 acres, and the 19th and Eisenhower site. And it was a very easy decision. The amount of space available at the 19th and Eisenhower site, and just being able to put in a prototype there that would meet the needs of our students was the overwhelming predictor of the recommendation. So the first recommendation is that the board have the new elementary school built at the 19th and Eisenhower site. Then the second issue that we worked on was the design. Which prototype or design would be the best fit for our students and for our community. We reviewed our guiding principles that were set by the visioning group way back last fall. And so we were able to eliminate 2 of the 4 elementary schools. And then we looked at both Oak Grove Elementary School, which is in the Turner District, and it's brand new, hasn't been open yet, and Grand Star Elementary School in Gardner. And those were the 2 top favorites. If you could go to the next. So the next thing we did was we discussed the likes and dislikes of each of those schools. And it was a very difficult decision. Both schools are very nice. I believe I sent you the floor plans for both of those. I have posted both of those on our board docs site here. So as we looked at what were the outstanding features of both of those schools, you can see classroom design, there were a number of things. Oak Grove, for example, had larger classrooms, inviting halls, those kinds of things. Dislikes, you can see those as well. So when it came down to it, the choices, we had 3 whose first choice was Grand Star and 5 whose first choice was Oak Grove. So as I spoke with the 3 who felt Grand Star was the best choice, they felt like they could support the Oak Grove site with some modifications. So if you'll go to the Oak Grove design. So Robin O'Rourke with DLR, this is her school design. And so you can see the modifications include group rooms. Now she has put these group rooms, no, I want to point. Scoot back. Thank you. Okay, group rooms are in the middle of the hall. It doesn't go that far, but you can see they're kind of in the middle of the hall. Mm-hmm. Another design that would be easily changed would be to put the group rooms at the very end of the halls or at the very front of the hall. So that's a choice that I believe the staff can discuss and help DLR design where that group room should be. I don't think that that's necessarily a decision for the board to make or for me to make. So, with modifications, the new elementary school committee recommends that the Oak Grove site or the Oak Grove design, be the prototype that the board adopts for us to put at the 19th and Eisenhower site. What questions do you have?
Well, I have a question I'd like to add because I was on the committee. Part of the guiding principles was that this design fit in with the community and respect the community. And this is a very timeless design. It will, close the pictures. It's very timeless, and it's an elegant school. I think it will be a beautiful addition to the community.
So if
I
you
don't
stop
think
at the
it's one
first
of
one-
those buildings that you can look at it and go, yeah, they built that in 2015.
One of the things that we all really liked about this, and there are no professional pictures yet of the Oak Grove Elementary School. So Robin O'Rourke, the architect, sent construction pictures to me. So what you see are pictures that are not really the complete, but this was one of our very favorite parts, and that was, you'll see the cabinets, the storage along the side, and the big drawers for posters and those kinds of things. These classrooms were, I think, just a little bigger than other classrooms, but the storage was much more modern. The colors, all the things that were part of this school just felt timeless, as Linda said. Would you go to the next picture?
Is that carpeting, that flooring there, just in that one picture?
Oh, I don't remember. I think there were carpets in the
it
room,
was. It
but the
was
halls were tile.
Okay.
Right? Is that what you guys remember? That's right. Thank you. It was
What
tile.
about, are these all flat roofs? Do you know?
No.
Good.
DLR doesn't do flat roofs.
Bless their
You can
hearts.
see, this is the front entrance. Now, this is what they call value designed because they didn't have enough space or money to do the complete design that you just looked at. So this would be bigger at our site, the front entrance and the office area. Next picture. And I think this is a nice picture because it shows the tile the brick, the colors of the brick, and just the design of the outside of the building. This would be the gym, and then down further, that would be the commons area or cafeteria area.
Food service behind that.
Yeah.
Dan, what about that huge, in the floor plan, there's this huge special education area. How do you see that plan out?
Originally, the building was not built with that. That's actually drawn back in. It was originally planned to have a special education area up front. That looks like one huge area or one huge room. It will not be.
Yeah.
It will be at least two separate areas.
Okay.
It could be, there's some space options to switch off between the special education area, which was actually value engineered out of their building. They're not able to serve all of the kids' needs there at that location. They chose, because of the costs involved, to take some of their special education area and place it in another building. We would never do that, but that is, and that's why.
Excuse me? Who are we?
Ottawa would have too much value on all of our kids to be able to do that. So anyway, the special education area was drawn back in, but not in its entirety the way that it would have been
Right.
sectioned off.
It's on, okay.
And then,
Yeah, it will give us the space.
and how many units does it have?
It has
What's the capacity for kids?
four sections of each grade level.
And what we liked was that you can add on to this. This can be added on to.
That was my question, if it could be added on, and then if you do add on, is the current gym and the lunchroom capacity able to add on another unit? Are they going to be able to handle that with the size of rooms that those are?
It was a pretty
It was
good
huge.
size lunchroom.
It was. It was much bigger than the other lunchrooms that we saw, but that's certainly a good question that we could work with DLR.
I want to make sure it can handle 5 units if
exactly.
you ended up needing to do that, because now it's cheap to do that, not to come back after the
exactly.
fact.
And this was a regular-sized gym, so, I mean,
Yes,
a
it was
gym's
a full gym.
Well, and including the riser capabilities and stuff, which we
Right.
don't currently have.
This is a 4-unit. What capacity does this building have, students?
460 is what comes to mind, but I'm not certain about that. It was
Okay.
a good size. It was what we had talked about in terms of the building that would be about the size of Lincoln in terms of capacity.
Okay.
So 4 sections. Mhm.
You're saying the staff is going to work on, kind of the layout of the building. Have they been consulted with at all, or is that future programming?
That would be future. DLR has a process where they work with groups of teachers and send out questionnaires to determine where things should be, for example, the group room, restrooms, and those kinds of things. So at this time, we had 3 members of the Eugene Field staff on our committee.
Do you contemplate a time for public input? I mean, is DLR planning a public, because a lot of times you would have the public also dialogue in on this.
We had members of the public who were part of the committee that worked with us, and that would be the extent of the public involvement. Mhm.
I guess I'd be in favor of more public involvement, actually having some evening meetings where the public could come and dialogue. I mean, after all, they're footing $65 million. This is part of it. And I'm not saying they should have programming, obviously, leave that up to the professionals. But, I would think we'd want the public to have more involvement.
So the question for you tonight is the site and the prototype. Those are the 2 things that we come before you to ask. The committee has recommended the 19th and Eisenhower site and the Oak Grove prototype. So,
In walking those buildings, and this, of course, could be done either way, but were they light, lots of windows, lots of, I mean,
It was beautiful.
okay, and to me, that's really important to have the outside light. And there was something else I was going to ask, which I forgot.
It was just one of those buildings that had good feng shui, if you can use that. It just
Ooh, that's a big word.
felt good.
Could you, yeah.
it was good.
It was a good building.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion?
Yes,
Yeah.
Motion that we accept the recommendation,
both.
Both the site and the
Yes.
building design.
site and the building design.
I'll second that.
I have a couple of questions on the side. Is Wendy sat on the committee, is that correct?
Yes.
What about discussions of off-site improvements, roadway improvements,
We talked about
floodplain?
that.
We talked about that. We reviewed that. I believe in late June, I sent the board information. I can certainly send that to you. If that was before I sent information out to you, I can certainly do that. But yes, in fact, we've met with the city to talk about both sites and where electricity and gas and all of those things are. We
Turning
have
lanes.
Turning lanes.
turning lanes, everything. So Harold, I'd be happy to send you that
Yes.
information.
But I guess my concern is not just that, that whole corridor from 19th to 23rd Street is a floodplain drainage issue. That's why it's not developed.
We have, the district owns 20.5 acres,
Okay?
and of that, 4 acres is in the floodplain. The rest is not.
And I think if I heard the conversation right, that the part that is floodplain and whatnot actually enhances
Right.
the property because it helps with the drainage.
Right.
And we don't have to do any extra building to drain water away.
When we first did that, when we first bought that years ago, we looked at that stuff.
Yeah, it's a good site.
It
I
is-
would also like to add that. I
Okay,
hope
before we add, and are you going to add to
Are
the
we
motion?
discussing?
Is this part of the
No,
discussion?
this is more
Discussion.
just me stating something I would like to see happen if this is the site that we approve. And that's just that we keep in mind that we could use more soccer fields and other facilities for the children in the community.
I have no doubt you're right. So there's a motion.
There is a motion and a second, and we've had a little bit of discussion. All in favor of this site and this design, please raise your right hand. Oppose? It's 7-0, thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you. This is such an exciting time, I think, for our community and certainly for our kids. When we set out to do this, we envisioned the right spaces to make our kids college and career ready. And so this is just pretty exciting. The next thing on the agenda, I just want to give you a quick board update. You'll see later on in the agenda work plan that we have board updates planned every month. And so this will be a time when I can give you the newer information, which I try to do in your Friday update. But I also want to give information, and we'll have information on our website so that the public knows what's going on. So I'm just going to skip down. I've talked to you a little bit about the first several bullets. We've been working with Josh Walker and Randy Flowers with Lloyd Builders to define the guaranteed maximum price, the budget, the timeline, all of those kinds of things. We've been meeting once a week, and those meetings have been very productive. The pre-design phase for the high school project is going to start in August. High school teams will visit science wings in other schools built by DLR, probably in September or October. And then we will have the big deal I've been waiting for since forever, is the groundbreaking. We'll probably begin in late February for the new elementary school, and that will be the first big project that gets underway, the first element of that project that gets underway. We are advertising for an owner's rep. Dr. Cross is gone this week. We've just put it out. And so in about a week or two, we'll see what we have and go from there. The one thing I do want to show you is OHS is being digitized so that the budgets and the plans will be more accurate. So this is the latest footprint for the new high school, in case you haven't seen it.
You mean with the new additions? Yeah.
With the new additions, And there's a legend along that side that tells you the extent of the renovation or new construction. And you'll notice that the basement floor plan, that would be the locker rooms, that is also included in this. And this is just a general kind of rough concept. But it kind of helps us get an idea of what things are going to look like.
Dr. Stewart, Dr. Cobb, do you anticipate added parking, especially with the demolition of those buildings out on the northwest corner?
We do not anticipate additional parking because our parking lots are only full typically when there's a big event. Mm-hmm. So we don't have additional parking planned at this time, but there certainly is space for that down the road if that's something that we feel like we need to consider once we have these things in place.
It wouldn't be bad. I don't know. It wouldn't be a bad plan to have the city involved in that because parking
Absolutely.
is one of their things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Traffic flow and parking, absolutely.
Travel or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Any other questions about the update?
That's exciting.
It is exciting. It's just, oh my gosh. It is great fun. All right. Next on the agenda. Sorry, Linda, I don't mean to just take over.
It says you for all of them, so go for it.
All right. So the next thing on the agenda is the agenda work plan. The purpose of this is for you and for school personnel to have an idea what things are coming up for board meetings. This certainly doesn't mean that this is everything, that all the reports that you will get. We certainly add some. Typically, on a Friday before a board meeting, I get a call or two or more saying, hey, I want to do a report, or I need this approved by the board. And so I always explain that we need to do that next time. I've tried to include everything here that we have done this year. I've put some things together, some of our assessment things together, reading and writing, for example. Some of the high school information we had separated last year. It just makes sense, for example, to do the Cyclone Connect with the ACT results and the work key results. So we can do all of those at one time. I have added a couple of things. I have added strategic plan. You all will work on that on August 22nd at the board retreat. And then we will do some work on it. I'll present it back to the board after administrators and staff have some time to work on it also. So we'll have that twice. We have, I believe we have Advanced Ed, which is our accreditation model. We'll have a report from Advanced Ed on October 12th. So just some of those things that we've been working to add for the last couple of years. Now those reports, we have enough data and we can do those reports. And let's see. And then, of course, I added a bond project update every month. So questions, additions that you would like to see. I sent this out a couple of weeks ago with your board update, so you'd have some time to reflect on things that you might like to see. This certainly doesn't mean that if you think of something we can't add later on, but I just like to have something that we can work from. Comments, questions?
Looks
I have
good.
one question.
Yes.
The last time we met, Dr. Cobbs talked to us about the changes in earning your points back and forth.
Alternative school.
Correct.
Okay.
And I was wondering if, I mean, you know that it has always been one of the things I always worry about, losing any kids. So I wondered if we could have data at some point in the spring, say if it's working or not working, or should we change it or something like that? I don't know.
Okay, I have a question for you. On February 22nd, one of our results monitoring reports is the mid-year student behavior report. I could certainly include that in that, or we could do it separately.
No, that'd be fine.
Okay.
And the other question I always have is our working relationship with Neosho County to make sure that they're meeting what our folks need that are going there and getting into the workforce or going on to other furthering education. And which one does that fall under? Because I get confused.
I was thinking we had a Neosho County report, but I'm not
I just want to
seeing
make
it.
sure that, I don't know,
We
'cause
can certainly include that in the career tech ed offerings on January 11th. That might be a possibility. We can certainly do a separate report.
either way, I just want to, because we made such a substantive change here a year or two ago.
We also
To
have
go
adult
backwards.
learning. Some of that will fall under adult learning.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true. I know there's specific key benchmarks the state's looking for, and I just want to make sure that they're meeting those.
Okay, so we'll include that in both of those because they're different parts, but they still include the work that we do with Neosho County Community College. So we'll include it in adult learning on November 9th and career tech ed offerings on January 11th.
Yep, and I apologize for not getting that to you before.
That's why we're talking about it tonight, and you'll approve it on the 10th. Other suggestions, questions that you have about the agenda work plan?
No, but it may change some after our retreat on the 22nd. I mean, if something comes
Good.
up or
Absolutely.
so.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Are there any board reports tonight?
Well, I had one as I've thought about this process. I worry that we didn't do a really good job, the last bond issue that we had, of building public excitement. And I kind of would echo maybe what Harold had said earlier about including Publix, or as they come in for parent days or parent nights, pizza nights, or, we have all that frenzy at the beginning of the year.
Family nights.
There you go, the frenzied family nights. If we couldn't build as much excitement as we can with the folks who are helping put the bill, and I don't, not in terms of necessarily getting feedback, but to show and have the teachers or participants in these like Linda, you're a great ambassador for that, because you were on that process and seeing how that works and showing folks that there is a process. We're not just randomly shooting from the hip. So.
I would say we still have the Time Is Now Committee's Facebook page.
Good idea.
And I would be, I ran it, I'd be more than happy to put updates and
That would
pictures as the process
Like
goes
that,
along.
that would be great to
I think it would be good.
post this information.
I'll double check with the rest of the committee, but I can't imagine that they would object, so.
Yeah, that
That
would
way
be
it
a
keep,
good
because we've got a
place to-
good set of followers, and those were the people who supported it, so they want to know.
You could go from the time is now to it's happening now.
There you go. But I echo what Susan's saying. I think not only at as we get back into swing of school, but in the coming weeks or coming meetings, I'd like to see meetings actually set where the public can come and dialogue over the buildings they're paying for. So I agree with you, Susan. I think the more we do outreach, the more we do involvement, the more we seek their input, the better off we are.
I think there'll be some excitement to see if Dr. Stroh can actually get a shovel into the ground when it's frozen in
Yeah, I was
February.
thinking that too. February, it
I
better
have waited
be
a long time for
Pre-dig
this.
that.
I'll get that shovel
You'll
on
get,
the
you
ground.
dang diddly right, you'll get her in there.
the night before, Bill, you're out there with a blowtorch.
I will, that's right. Just what I was thinking.
Warm it up.
I'm not so sure our CMR is laughing back there at us or with us. I think he's done some construction work in February in Kansas before.
Trying to go to bedrock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Oh, and, you get to do board policies.
Oh,
The
my.
Jeannie Stroh Show.
And there's no thunderstorm tonight blowing the roof off.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't started yet. Okay.
See what God has to say.
So I thought I would read each of these word for word.
Great.
Just
Wonderful.
kidding.
I'm ready.
I was a kindergarten teacher, so I need pictures, and there are no pictures. So you've had an opportunity to read these. They were posted before the last meeting. I believe it was July 13th. They were posted well before that. And so I believe that there was discussion about some of the policies last time. And I haven't heard any questions. I don't believe Dr. Kraus has. He is away at a conference. So if you have questions, I will try to answer them, or I will write them down and have him contact you and answer those questions. Otherwise,
I would be glad to move that we approve the new and revised board policies as presented.
Second.
Before we do that, I want to go back to the situation with the bus.
okay?
The kids are getting on the buses as early as 6:15, and they're getting off at 5 and later. And I just cannot think it is in the kid's best interest. If you think of a kindergartner or a first grader that has to get up at 5:15 in the morning and get on a bus and ride for an hour and a half to go 4 to 6 miles, at what kind of shape of they're ready to learn after they've been up that long? Did they eat breakfast? When they get there, will they have time to eat breakfast, or do they have to just bolt it down? They go to class, and then they get on the bus, and they ride for another hour and a half to 2 hours at the end of the day. I think the district needs to have a policy in there that says at any time coming or going, barring weather or mechanical failure or breakdown of the vehicle or traffic, that it needs to be, we as a district say, you know what, that is not acceptable to leave our kids on the bus that long. I am lucky that I have a job that I can pick my kids up and take them in, and I now have a daughter that's 16, but there are a lot of kids out there who are just left on that bus for hours, and it has to wear on their quality of their education to spend that long on the bus for that length of time. So
I agree. I think that the bus comes by our house about 6:15 in the morning. Kids get off about 4:30, 4:45. I echo, hey, I take them to school. I pick them up if I'm in town. But there's other kids on the bus as well. And I think, you know, if you think about it, just think about how many people that day starts at 6:15, they're going somewhere at 6:15, they get back at 5:15 on other
5
bus
o'clock.
routes,
Yeah.
okay? So how many other district employees, how many people out there have a 10, 11, 12-hour workday ahead of them? And then we're asking first graders to do the same thing. So I think we need to take that as a priority as a board and say, we'll correct that and make it happen.
I would like to
I-
make a
I
motion
think-
that we put that into
Well,
the
we've
board
got,
agreement.
Okay, so
have
let,
to.
so let me explain. So KASB designs and writes our policies for us, and they recommend that we do not put a policy in that defines an exact time. That's a practice issue that we're working on. I believe Tim Sipe, our transportation director, has a plan to address that. And I feel pretty confident that his plan will work. That's not part of policy, that's a practice.
Why does KSAB, they do not want to put that in your policy?
Right.
Why?
Because policy, policy is meant to protect you from liability, and they believe that the liability would be too great, that you can't, what's the word I'm looking for?
You're saying it, you're worried it opens us up to litigation?
Yes,
Yes,
Right.
yes.
and I would agree.
The only
But
problem
it-
is we're putting the kids' needs second to our needs on litigation. If we're doing our job of making sure the kids get to school, I mean, an hour is, for 4 to 6 miles, that's more than enough time. If the district's doing its job, that will never come up as a problem. I mean, we either, understand what the concerns are for kids, and, we decide to make progress and move forward, or we just make excuses and leave it like it is.
I think we'll be very pleased with what Mr. Sipe has planned in terms of different bus routes and the things that he has determined will be best practice. And again, that's not, as KSB attorneys tell us, that should not be part of policy.
So I wonder,
Should this come up as something we need to discuss? July is not the only time we can change policy, should
Right.
we decide that this needs to be
And I-
done.
Sure.
I
So-
wondered as we just went through the work plan, could we not have like because transportation was, how to tactfully put it, clustered up a little last year, a little.
That's a
I
very
mean,
nice
but-
way of putting that. Thank you
But
for
maybe
saying
we
it
could
that way.
get a report on how that's progressing.
certainly
Because we
can.
also know that it wasn't clustered up in a day. It took a couple of years or several years to get there. So maybe we could have it, like,
agree. I
where are
think
we
it's-
I
at
will
and how
add
are
that.
we going forward?
Absolutely. I can add that probably, it looks like December 14th might be.
Well, can
Actually,
I-
I'd like to see that earlier because
Yeah,
I'd
I
like
was
to
gonna
see what
say,
his
can
plan
we
is.
see that next, I mean, here's the thing, school's starting, it's 110 degrees heat index out there. Is there any reason we can't see that at the next meeting?
I
August
think
10th?
we have to get started first.
We don't-
So I might propose that we look at that on August 24th. That will give a couple of days.
How about at the board retreat on the 22nd? That gives
The
time to
board
discuss it.
The board retreat is not a time for reports. The board retreat is a time for work on the strategic plan, so no decisions can be made at a board retreat. So,
Strategically planning the buses, I think, is an important part of it.
and so you are welcome to bring that up at that time. So I'll have Mr. Sipe do a report. I'll add that to the agenda work plan for August 24th.
Okay.
So back to policy, I believe there was a motion.
And a second to approve the policies as presented. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed?
You didn't vote on that one.
Okay. 4-2
It-
vote.
And now that we voted, and before we move on, I would just like to state that I'd actually like to see on when he brings this proposal, some action items. I mean, I think we need to, as a board, take this serious, and we need to enact it now. So I respectfully say, if we're waiting till August 24th, then, and I'm going to just state my personal opinion, I think an hour is plenty long enough for a kid to ride a bus. So I'd like to see his plan address that.
Absolutely.
So
And this
anyway,
is-
thank you.
This is his first time to start the year because he came to us like in April. Was it April? Middle of April, I
No,
believe.
he came earlier.
Came
He
in
just didn't go
January,
Time till April.
part-time until,
Yeah, but I
until
mean-
March.
Right.
Okay, I will have that for you
Thank you.
on
This is his
August
first
24th.
start to the year, is
Appreciate
my
it.
point.
Okay.
Next, thank you. Next thing
next,
on the agenda is the notice.
For budget hearing
A
for
budget
Monday,
hearing.
August 10th, for us to meet at 6:45
Oh,
in this room to
better
review
write
the
that down.
budget.
If you'll open the budget. There's something that this is what's going to be published in the paper, and there's something that I want to bring to your attention. And as you know, the budget that we publish high so that we have the authority. This doesn't mean that this is the money we have in our accounts. We publish high so that we have the authority and we don't have to go back and republish. But what I want to show you, and hopefully, if you'll look at General Fund 2000, the very first line, General Fund 2000, and now my little 2015, you can see there's a considerable increase in the budget. And the reason for that is with Senate Bill 7, with Senate Bill 7, the block grant bill, that caused the capers money that comes to us, state aid, and goes right back to the state to be deposited, and we have to show it in our general fund. We don't use that money, that isn't our money, but it has to be shown in our general fund. The special education money,
Is that Capers increase, is it close to 5 million? Is it that big a number, or is it?
the Capers numbers on the next page. That 5 million is our LOB. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm talking about the difference. I'm talking about we have a $5 million
Yeah.
Right.
increase.
Okay, but
In
there are
14.
there are other things that go
Okay.
in there.
I'm
So
sorry.
the Capers goes in and it goes right back to Topeka.
Right.
But we have to put it in our ledger. Okay. We have to identify special education dollars in our general fund and then move it to special education funds. Our capital outlay dollars that have always been deposited into capital outlay now come into our general fund, and we have to move that to capital outlay. So when you see that number that looks significantly bigger, it is, but it's because Senate Bill 7 has caused us to have to record that in general fund.
Because it goes into general fund, like say, just use capital outlay, which your most recent example. It comes into general, you move it over capital outlay. Are you required to move all of that over, or are you able to hold on to some of it?
No, we move it all over to capital outlay.
Okay, you're not allowed to hold on to anything if you had another expenditure.
We put capital outlay money in capital outlay so that we can get equalization aid for our capital outlay mills that we charge our district. So that's really the big difference in this year and last year. And then if you'll go to the second page, the only other thing I want to bring to your attention is down towards the bottom, assessed valuation. I just want you to notice that we're up a little bit, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Not up a lot, but there are districts across the state who actually dropped, and you'll see that last year we dropped a little bit from the previous year. So that's good news. That means our community is a little more economically healthy. So this is the budget that we will publish based on your approval. And then we'll have a budget meeting or a budget hearing at 6:45 on August 10th. And Terry and I both will be here to answer further questions either from the board or from the public.
And tell us what the estimated effect on our mill levy will be.
Our mill levy will go up, the 5.9 mills, I think it is, that we promised during the bond campaign. Our mill rate will stay the same for everything else. We're not dropping, we're not moving up. So the mill rate will only increase by our bond and interest mills that we let everybody.
I know,
know
and
about.
when we started into that, we were hoping to keep that under 10.
Yeah.
We kept it under 6. I think that's
Yeah, it's
worth
amazing.
noting.
Yeah. And we have a good, healthy bond and interest fund, so we're good.
Okay, so do we need to approve both this budget for publishing and to approve the hearing?
You
or-
only need to approve the hearing.
Hearing,
And this
okay.
is what will be in the newspaper, and then you'll approve the budget during
After
the
the
next board meeting.
Okay, all right. So I do need a motion to approve an August 10th, 6:45 meeting for budget hearing.
So moved.
Motion. Oh, there you go.
Second.
Move second, okay. Any more discussion over this? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand.
I'm sure it'll be riveting.
Opposed, 7-0. It is always
Always
riveting.
riveting.
You don't think this room will be too small then?
Well, I don't know.
That's exciting stuff.
And
Get out
we
extra
will
chairs.
not have executive session for a while, so, because of negotiations, so we need to approve personnel.
I would move that we approve the personnel report as presented.
Second. I had one question. How come only 2 of the paraprofessionals are best? The rest are something else.
Best
You've
is
only
our
got 2 best ones. The rest are, oh, the best.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, all right, well, I just wasn't sure. I was going to ask you before the meeting, but I thought, well, never mind.
That's the best joke I've heard yet tonight.
I just don't.
Before we approve
Yes.
this, we had a resignation last month for the ORC rep. Have we put
Yeah.
that out yet?
Where are we on that?
We are going to advertise for it. We haven't yet because this is a tough time to advertise until the beginning of August. And so we want to make sure that we have more parents and so on attention. If you know somebody, have them call me or Teresa Powers, and we can get them the application. How that works is that we will take applications, and all of you, any of you, are welcome to talk to people about being the board's representative. And then, like last year or the year before, we'll have interviews, and the board will select a candidate. So if you know somebody, that would be fantastic.
If you're new to the board, that's really fun. It's extremely awkward because you interview them in public and you
then
vote in
on
public.
them in public.
And they
Yeah.
stay there while you vote.
And
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just kind of
This is
awkward.
good times.
It is.
So that, yeah.
No secret ballot there.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the personnel report. If there's no more discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand. Oppose? Okay. Do we have announcements?
We do have announcements. This morning, Dr. Cobbs and I went to Overland Park and celebrated the Carl Perkins Community Service Award. Went to Cherry Cohen. And isn't that awesome?
That is awesome.
And the Kansas Association of Career and Technical Education Teacher of the Year was Stella Tharp. And if you haven't seen pictures, look on Facebook on the USD 290 site. If you haven't clicked on like for that site, do that. We'll try to have as many pictures as we can. So that was pretty big news of the summer and pretty exciting and great fun to celebrate with both of those wonderful ladies. They will be recognized at the board meeting on August 10th, which will be great fun. And then the other announcement I have is enrollment begins this week. And we're pretty excited about getting school started again. So Wednesday, Lincoln Elementary; Thursday, Garfield Elementary; Monday, Eugene Field; Tuesday, Ottawa Middle School. All of those are from 12 to 6 each day. And then next Wednesday, seniors at Ottawa High School, 9 to 11, juniors 1 to 3. On Thursday, sophomores from 9 to 11, and freshmen from 1 to 3. And for virtual school and all of those, check our website. We have all of those listed. So that's all the announcements I have, Madam President.
Thank you. So we need a motion to adjourn.
What about all the good welcome back things? Like, what is the day of that,
The open house
Breakfast
and
thing?
family,
the breakfast thing?
the breakfast,
The
the
10th.
staff breakfast is August 10th,
Okay,
7:30 to 9 at the middle school.
okay.
And is that the
Sorry.
first day the teachers report back?
Yes.
And then, is there anything else that,
We-
now, if more than 3 of us show up, since we got our hands slapped
She
last
has a
time,
handy dandy
do we
little
have a
form
handy
that we
little
fill out.
form we need to like
Yep.
say?
Yes,
Yeah.
I will have a
We
form
should-
for
She
You have a
carries
form.
it with her at
There you
all
go.
times.
Wonderful.
There will be no board business taken care of that morning. I
Okay,
guarantee you.
very good.
It's just coffee, cake, and
No, we're having
Speeches.
we're having breakfast.
Breakfast
Linda's a
and
speaker.
frivolity.
Linda's the speaker, yeah, we hear her speech.
Linda's speech, yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Usually about a half an hour, and
All right.
Real motivating.
She doing the song this
Go
year?
get them.
And no
if you don't
kissing people in
sweat-
the audience.
No, I'm not, and we talked about that too. We said that's not gonna happen.
What's that?
I'm not kissing anybody when I give my speech.
Don't worry about it, I'll take care of that for you.
I'll make that
I
announcement.
have two
Knowing
Watch
Bill,
out
he
for
will.
Bill.
That's right.
of our staff members I have targeted. I would move we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
So
quickly.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay,
Let's
opposed,
go.
same sign. Thank you.
Go, Bill, go.
better you than